So let's go Karen Pirie, and this is on ITVX. And Karen Pirie is a okay. We're talking about cold cases with Thursday night, not Thursday night, just Thursday Murder Club. And there's a certain series of shows, or for instance, Unforgotten on ITV is also like that. Karen Perry is kind of like I feel like if ITV could go half the year you're watching Unforgotten and half the year watching Karen Perry, they would be very happy. So this is it's based on a series of books by a writer called Val McDermid, and it's set in Edinburgh. And Karen Perry is this in the first, because this is season 2 I'm talking about, but in the first season, she's up and coming, but she's kind of like a detective that people don't really pay much attention to. But then there's a scandal in her department. They say, oh, this department is being accused of being sexist. So what we need to do is that we need a win. We need a PR win. So what they do is that they go and they say, we're going to open this cold case about this death of this woman all these years ago, and we're going to put a woman in charge. And so they put Karen Perry in charge of the whole organization, of the whole investigation. They put her in charge of it. And in doing so, they overlook that, well, the person she's in a relationship with, feels that he got overlooked for her, and he thought just because she's a woman, she got that job. And there's a truth to that they gave her the job because she's a woman, but then it's also about what she's going to do with it. And in this second season, by this time she's been in the job a while. She's got quite a good rate. She's built a team around her, and then another thing comes up. But this case is about, there's a billionaire Scotsman, sort of like industrialist, whose daughter disappeared like 2 decades ago, and they keep talking about it being one of the most famous missing person cases in like the history of Scotland. And it's about how we're going to take this up, how we're going to open it up. This is in 3 episodes. Each episode is about an hour and a half long, but with adverts, it's 2 hours. So, and because of the way ITVX do their thing, you cannot escape the adverts. So, because the way they do, you cannot. So each episode is essentially feature length, a bit like what they did with Sherlock. And I think it's very, very good because the Lauren Lyle, who plays Karen Perry herself, is very good. She's a very kind of no nonsense person. She's always walking around with in America, they call them a fanny pack, but in the UK, bum bag. Yes, that's it. So she always has this bum bag on. So she's the kind of character who you think might be somewhere on the spectrum because she doesn't really care what people think about her. She doesn't care about how she's dressed or anything like that. All she cares about is the truth, and she has this sort of like dogged determination with the truth. You can see they have a higher budget with this because there's a jaunt where they leave the UK and they end up in Malta, and there's there's a very funny thing of her in Malta where she's being a typical Scots person where she shows up and the first thing she goes is like, it's too hot. It's too hot. And I think it's quite good. It's funny. I think the characters are well drawn out. The observations that they make about them and about the relationship she has with Phil, her boyfriend, who she's kind of his boss, and how that works out. And the thing that they do with this that I think is brilliant is the flashbacks to what happened decades ago. The casting, I think Karen Perry has got some of the best casting that I've seen on TV, because they cast people as people who are 30 years younger than these other characters, and the second you see them, you immediately know who they are. The second you see them, you go, okay, no, that's the young version of that guy. That's the younger version. They did that in the first season. The first season was mad, but I was like, okay, no, I am not confused for 1 second as to who's where, what timeline we're in. I'm not confused. And this one as well, in the second season, they did exactly the same thing, where they were like, where I was just like, yep, that's the same guy, that's that person, because the casting was spot on. So, all in all, I like this show. I feel like to talk anymore would be to start talking about specifics, which would lead to spoilers. But let's say the bits where they go out of the UK are quite funny. The different characters that they have as well, and how they bring them in and all that, they're quite funny. And something for you, Sharon, because I remember that when we reviewed the Lonely Hearts Hotel, I believe it was, you said that it was nice to see a woman on screen who looks like a normal woman.
Yes, yeah.
Talking about Geraldine Viswanathan, who was in Drive Away Dolls. It all comes round. Yeah, yes. You're talking about, and this is something that I kept spotting in this show. I kept spotting in like, hang on a second, these are normal shaped women, and like they're being shot from angles that it's not flattering or unflattering, it just is. But it's something like the kind of thing that you can imagine they would have tried to take out in another show. Go, oh no, that's not flat. That doesn't look no, but anything like that.
Yeah.
All in all, I loved it. I think I'll give it a 4 out of 5. So 4 out of 5 for Karen Pirie.